beautiful Canadian morning. Hello there, my name is Joakim and I've been living in the wonderful country of Canada for about 2 years now. During my years in Canada, I've been trying to figure out what makes the culture and what ideas is based on. So these are my impressions as an immigrant living in Canada of what the Canadian culture is about and what makes Canada, well, Canada. In Canada, people appreciate friendliness and being considerate. And yes, this is something that you can say about pretty much every spot in the world. But to my own experience, there are very few places that I have been to where people talk as often about being nice, and not being nice is really something that you don't want to be. Like one personal example of this niceness is my very first time coming to Canada. I remember that I tried to enter a corner store, realizing that it was closed and wouldn't open for another 30 minutes. As I was walking away from the store, the owner came and he shouted to me that, "Hey buddy, come back, I can open the store just for you." And this niceness, I was so taken aback by it that he would do that thing just for me. So I shouted back to him like, no, it's all good. Like, why? One characteristics about Canadians that hardly ever gets mentioned is Canadians' patience. Canadians have so much patience. So many times I've been talking to a stranger and I haven't really been able to get my point across. So I've been having to repeat myself 3 or 4 times. And they always listen. Another thing is that if you're trying to cross a street and there is a car, many times I have experienced that the driver of the vehicle backs his car up to give you enough space to walk properly across the street. And it's such a small thing, but it really goes this extra mile. And that's something that I haven't experienced anywhere else in the world. And it's so easy to strike up a conversation with a stranger on the street or in a bar or at the supermarket even. And this thing that it's so easy to talk to one another, I really think that it creates a trust in fellow Canadians, which is like a positive spiral. Sometimes in my own experience, I feel that this niceness of Canadian can go a little bit too far, that someone has had a really shitty day, but they feel so obliged just to be nice to you that it can come up almost a bit forced. But I think that says a lot about, the Canadians' obligation to be nice to each other. And this obligation of being nice, I can see that I have started myself a little bit. There was this one time when I was in line at the doctor's office. I had my earbuds in, listening to music, doing my own thing. And there was this guy behind me. He kept asking me stuff and I took my earbuds out, answered him, and then I put them back in over and over again. And then it finally struck me that this guy, he just wanted to chat. And I remember taking them out finally and asking him, "Hey, how's it going?" and all that, because I felt this need just to be nice to him. Coming from another country into Canada, it's very obvious that Canadians don't take themselves too seriously, and I love that about Canadian culture. One example of this, I remember that I was walking home one day and I saw what I presume was a dad, all suited up, tie and everything, and he was pedaling his son's tricycle home. And the tricycle was super small and he was sort of like chilling doing it. And it was amazing. It was so awesome to see. It was hilarious, but I really respected and I appreciated it. There are some typical sayings that I stumble upon more than once. And one of them is, "Oh, it's a great place, but I wouldn't want to live there." And that makes me think, is it really a great place? Or is it like a good place to visit for like 3 or 4 days and that's it? Another quote that I heard many times is, "Oh, he's a great guy, I just don't care for him." And that makes me think, is he really a great guy? Is this someone that I want to meet? Other typical Canadian phrases that I heard is "out and about" and "no doubt about it." And I think that's hilarious because that's Canadians making fun of themselves, talking the way that some people believe that Canadians talk, but no Canadian actually talks that way anymore. There are still some things that I don't really understand about Canadian culture, and one of them is when people are sitting in their cars in parking lot during summers with their engines idling. Like, why wouldn't you just go into the store? Wouldn't that be a bit more fun? Another thing that I don't quite get about Canadians is Canadians complaining about winter. When you live in Canada, I mean, come on, you can't really call yourself the true North and also complain about winters. Canada, to me, is such a progressive country. It really has a forward-thinking mindset. But then at the same time, if you look at the works in the House of Commons, it really feels like Canada has imported some of the least best parts of the British political system. So yes, that concludes my impressions of living in Canada for 2 years. In the future, I bet that I will see things very differently as I learn more and more about this wonderful country I now call home. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the video and thank you for watching. If you did like it, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And also, this is a cat. And also, this is a cat.